Okay, I am live. Wonderful. Um, Today I'm just gonna recap Proverbs chapter 1 and 2. I'm trying to go like chapter by chapter and recap everything just to make sure I'm taking everything in, I'm grasping everything that I'm reading. It's not just going in my brain and out the other side, basically. So open up the Bible app. When I rewatch this, I just want to remind myself to come back and read this book again because it's obviously dropping some gems. So that's why we're here. I'm going to pray before I get back into, before I go into the word again. Dear God, thank you for this day. Thank you for taking me throughout this day. It was a little stressful, but you got me through it. Thank you for taking me throughout this week, for being with me, guiding me, protecting me, allowing me to see another day, allowing me to wake up with the breath of life. As I be with my parents, my mom, my dad, as I be with my family, my extended family, my family back home. Please be with them and guide them, protect them, and shield them with your loving arms. Please be with my friends, the ones that I don't talk to often, the ones that I talk to more often. Help me to be a light towards them and show your love, not mine. Please be with me as I go back into Proverbs and reading again, especially as I go through chapters 1 and 2 today. Help me to get what you want me to get out of it and maybe learn something new. Please guide me, especially with temptations. Help me. Everything. Just in pray. Amen. Madre! Madre! Oh. Hi! Huh? Okay. Crazy week. Oh. Let's see what mother's. Okay, have to make sure because you will be on video. You want to say hello?
No.
Oh. That's so sad.
Excuse me.
Well, you probably just heard that.
Burp. Good night. See you in the morning.
See you.
Bye.
Goodbye. Don't want to show your face. Crazy work. I'm not gonna lie. Alright. I'm a big yawner. My mouth. Oh. Let's get to it, y'all. Well, myself. Got my Bible open, and we are heading to Proverbs chapter 1. Let me get started on my notes. Okay. I'm going to read through the chapter, then I'm going to go verse by verse. Okay. The Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel. To know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, judgment, and equity, to give prudence to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and increase learning, and a man of understanding will attain wise counsel. To understand a proverb and an enigma, the words of the wise and the riddles. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. My son, hear the instruction of your father, and do not forsake the law of your mother, for they will be a graceful ornament on your head, and chains about your neck. My son, if sinners entice you, do not consent. If they say, come with us, let us lie in wait to shed blood. Let us lurk secretly for the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them alive like Sheol, and whole like the pit, and whole like those who go down to the pit. We shall find all kinds of precious possessions. We shall fill our houses with spoil. Cast in your lot among us. Let us let us all have one purse. My son, do not walk in the way with them. Keep your foot from their path, for their feet run to evil, and they make haste to shed blood. Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird, but they lie in wait for their own blood. They lurk secretly for their own lives. So are the ways of everyone who is greedy for gain. It takes away the life of its owners. Wisdom calls aloud outside. She raises her voice in the open squares. She cries out in the chief concourses. At the openings of the city, at the openings of the gates in the city, she speaks her words. How long, you simple ones, will you love simplicity? For scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Turn at my rebuke. Surely I will pour out my spirit on you. I will make my words known to you, because I have called and you refused. I have stretched out my hand and no one regarded. Because you disdained all my counsel and would have none of my rebuke, I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your terror comes. When your terror comes like a storm and your destruction comes like a whirlwind, when distress and anguish come upon you, then they will call on me, but I will not answer. They will seek me diligently, but they will not find me, because they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. They would have none of my counsel and despised my every rebuke. Therefore they shall eat the fruit of their own way and be filled to the full, with their own fancies. For the turning away of the simple will slay them, and the complacency of fools will destroy them. But whoever listens to me will dwell safely, and will be secure without fear of evil. Good chapter, good chapter. Aren't they all though? Um, let's go verse by verse. This chapter has 33 verses. Let's do this. Um, so let me read. Verse 1. The Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel. Self-explanatory, just kind of tells me who's writing this. Solomon, obviously. Um, to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding. So I'm assuming this is the purpose of this chapter, I guess. Oh my goodness, I see I. I'm yawning crazy. I'm not even tired. See the words of understanding. To receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, judgment, and equity. I'm saying the purpose of this is for me to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, judgment, and equity. To not just like read, but to understand, I guess. I'm gonna write this down. Wisdom, justice, judgment, and equity. To give prudence to the simple. Um, I looked this up a while ago, but let me look it up again just to make sure I get it right. The definition of prudence. It's always good if you're reading the Bible and there's words that you don't understand to just look it up. It helps a whole lot more in the context, so you're not just kind of like reading through the Bible, not even understanding what you're reading. Because I used to do that a lot. I'm like, let me actually take time to understand what I'm reading and just search up these words, and it opens up a whole new world to what you're reading. Because wow, I actually understand it, y'all. Crazy word. Um, so prudence, the quality of being prudent, cautiousness. Oh yeah, I'm so tired. For what reason? I'm not tired, but I'm tired. So caution, ability to govern and discipline oneself by the use of reason. Okay. Um, to give prudence to simple. Simple is kind of just another word for dumb almost. And I searched up the definition of simple just to make sure I'm right. And the thing is, I'm going to switch versions here. Their purpose is to teach people wisdom and discipline to help them understand the insights of the wise. This is NLT. Their purpose is to teach people to live disciplined and successful lives. I don't know about successful. I don't know. Some translations are like kind of off for me. Um, to help them do what is right, just, and fair. Oh my goodness. I am a yawning monster. Yep. So that makes pretty much sense. What I want to get out of this, I'm gonna get wisdom, discipline, discernment, which kind of just falls hand in hand with wisdom, and yeah. Man. Okay, let's carry on. This is 1 through 3 so far. 1 through 4. To the young man, knowledge and discretion. Okay, so this kind of covers verses 1 through 4. Let's look at verse 5. A wise man will hear and increase in learning, and a man of understanding will attain wise counsel. Pretty sure wise counsel is just having people that know things. People. Oh goodness, I typed in the wrong word. I don't know why I'm yawning so much. Advice or guidance that is built on just people, sources that'll give you information that is actually helpful and good and in line with what God says. Um, wise man will hear and increase learning, and a man of understanding will attain wise counsel. A wise man will hear and increase in learning. So, verse 5, what I'm getting is I'm not just to hear, but to listen and to understand. Don't just listen or don't just hear, but seek to understand. And obtain wise counsel. And I'm gonna put in parentheses what wise counsel means, just advice or guidance that is helpful. Good advice / guidance. Cool. Verse 6. To understand a proverb and an enigma, the words of the wise and their riddles. this has to go with verse 5 because otherwise it makes no sense. So, a wise man will hear and increase in learning, and a man of understanding will attain wise counsel. To understand a proverb and an enigma, the words of the wise and their riddles. Um, Basically, just seeking wisdom, seeking understanding, seeking wise counsel to help, I guess, understand proverbs and enigmas, to understand this book, obviously. The words of the wise and their riddles. Verse 7 says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction." Oh my god. So I actually highlighted verse 7 on my Bible app. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and correction. I highlighted this verse because oftentimes we, as people, like constantly thinking we're right. We always want to be in the right, but um, the Bible is actually calling us foolish because when it's always my way or the highway, we're fools. We're foolish for that kind of thinking, and we despise wisdom and instruction or correction because we're so stuck in our ways practically. So let's see. Despise wisdom and instruction. But the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. To even understand this, we need to know what the fear of the Lord is. So let me look this up. Mm-hmm. So a lot of what I'm getting when I see the fear of the Lord is having reverence, respect, awe for God, and I agree with that completely, 100%. But some people like take it too lightly, almost like, okay, you just need to have some respect for God. That's what the fear of the Lord. But you need to have fear, like not just like, okay, I respect you, like this, like humble yourself practically in all that you do. So yeah, I'm gonna write that down. Humble reverence. Humble reverence, respect, and awe is what I'm saying. It also means obedience to Him. Okay, verse 8. Let's read verse 8 to whenever I feel fit. My son, hear the instruction of your father, and do not forsake the law of your mother, our parents, our wise counsel. For they will be a graceful ornament on your head and chains about your neck. This last part confused me. It said chains about your neck. I'm like, chains? What the heck is that's crazy word. Um, my son, if sinners entice you, do not consent. Okay, so let me just do 8 and 9, verse 8 and 9. So just 8 and 9. My son, hear the instruction of your father, and do not forsake the law of your mother. What I'm getting from this, again, it goes back to the wise counsel thing. Listening to our wise counsel, the guidance that they give practically, and plus there are parents. Honor your father and your mother from the Ten Commandments. So I'm gonna write this down. Listen to my counsel, and I'm gonna put this back to the Ten Commandments. Almost honor my father and my mother, because it also talks about the chain and the next thing crazy word. That's what I'm getting from this basically. Um, my son, if sinners entice you, this is verse 10. My son, if sinners entice you, do not consent. If they say, come with us, let us lie in wait to shed blood. Let us lurk secretly for the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them alive like Sheol, and whole like those who go down to the pit. We shall find all kinds of precious possessions. We shall fill our houses with spoil. Cast in your lot among us. Let us all have one purse. My son, do not walk in the way with them. Keep your foot from their path, for their feet run to evil, and they make haste to shed blood. Surely, in vain, the net is spread in the sight of any bird, but they lie in wait for their own blood. They look secretly for their own lives. So are the ways of everyone who is greedy for gain. It takes away the life of its owners. Another yard. Okay. This was what, verses 10 through like 19. Again, it just kind of like refers to that one verse about not being unequally yoked, like with unbelievers. Practically, keep your foot from them. What verse was it? Verse 15. Write that down. Verse 15 says, keep my foot from them, for their feet run to evil. Well, keep my foot from their path. And verse 16 says, their foot runs to evil. Keep from sinners' path. And it kind of goes back to a message that I keep like reiterating. It's don't put yourself in positions to stumble. Like in life, like challenges are gonna come our way, hurdles are gonna come our way, but don't ever be the one to put yourself in a position to stumble, especially if you like know like this might cause me to sin, but I'm gonna still go ahead with nah, keep my foot from the sinner's path. Let's see. Narrow is the gate and broad. Narrow is the path and broad is the gate that leads to instruction, and the wicked light thereof. In verse 17. Verse 17 kind of, the thought that it put in my head with surely in vain the net is spread inside of any bird. The thought it kind of put in my head was like as if someone was setting up a bear trap, right? Okay, so I'm gonna set up my bear trap right here. Okay, this is me. This is my bear trap. I'm gonna set up my bear trap, and then I go and walk into the bear trap. Like, what? Like, the trap's right in front of me. I'm the one setting it up. I know it's there, and yet I still walk into it. Like, that's so crazy. Right? So, like, all right. Verse 20. Wisdom calls aloud outside. Oh, I'm gonna love this part. Hold on, let me draw a dash right through here. I love when it talks about wisdom. So wisdom calls aloud outside. She raises her voice in the open squares. She cries out in the chief concourses. What is that? Oh. Draw a pencil. A large open area inside or in front of a public building, as in an airport or train station. So I guess like just in the open. So she raises her voice in the open square, like Times Square type stuff. She cries out in the chief concourses, the biggest, I guess, just open areas almost, I guess. Yep, in front of a public building. At the openings of the gates in the city, the city gates, we got the open squares, we got the chief concourses, we got the openings of the gates in the city. This is where she's calling aloud. She cries out from. She speaks her words. How long, you simple ones, will you love simplicity? For scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Turn at my rebuke. Surely I will pour out my spirit on you. I will make my words known to you. Because I've called you and you refuse. I've stretched out my hand and no one regarded. Because you disdained all my counsel and would have none of my rebuke, I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock you. I will mock when your terror comes. When your terror comes like a storm, and your destruction comes like a whirlwind, when distress and anguish come upon you. Then they will call on me, but I will not answer. They will seek me diligently, but they will not find me. Because they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord, they would have none of my counsel and despised my every rebuke. Therefore, they shall eat the fruit of their own way, and be filled to the full with their own fancies. For the turning away of the simple will slay them, and the complacency of fools will destroy them. But whoever listens to me will dwell safely and will be secure without fear of evil. It's kind of just like drove home the importance of wisdom for me. And the thing is, when it says she calls aloud, she raises her voice in the open squares. She cries out in the chief concourses at the openings of the gates in the city. It kind of made me think like wisdom is everywhere. Not like in everything, but it's everywhere almost. It's wisdom is showing herself here, and she's calling out from here, and she's crying out from here, and the simple turn away from her. They ignore her, right? And because of this, because we have refused wisdom when she stretched out her hand, because we disdained all of her counsel, her wise counsel, this is wisdom, and would have none of her rebuke because we refuse to take correction. Ooh. Because of that, she will laugh at our calamity, our like downfall basically. She will mock us when our terror comes. Wisdom will mock us when terror comes because we refuse to listen to her. And it kind of reminds me of the kind of parallel when Jesus I can't I all of a sudden I can't remember it. This is literally so easy. Like seek me and you'll find me. Am I slow? I actually forgot the verse. Seek and you will find. What was the first one? I know. Seek and you'll find. Knock and the door will be open to you. Ask and it will be given. Seek and you will be find. Ask and it will be given unto you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door will be open to you. That's what the verse was. And then you kind of get this like stark contrast with wisdom. She said, "They will call on me, but I will not answer. They will seek me, but they will not find me, because they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord." And it kind of would have been cool if she said, "They will knock at my door, but I will not open." I'm like, oh, crazy. Like, that would have been a good parallel, but it's a cool thing how it kind of connects to what Jesus said. You know, it's kind of just telling me like wisdom. You have to seek out wisdom. And the thing is, you don't have to seek very far because she's here and she's there and she's here and everywhere. And she's crying out from the rooftops and from town square and at the chief concourses. She's right there. We just have to open our eyes, acknowledge her, not just hear, not just listen, but understand. Seek knowledge, seek discipline, seek wisdom. Right. Um, Therefore, they shall eat the fruit of their own way and be filled to the full with their own fancies. This verse, what verse was it? Verse 31. So Proverbs chapter 1, verse 31. It kind of reminds me of the other verse in the Bible where God gave them up to their desires. Let me find the verse. It's Romans 1:28. It says, I want to see the full verse. I am not reading the King James Version right now. Turn that thing off. I need to get back into my King James Version because as of lately, I'm struggling over here. Let's do the New International Version just for time verses. So because of this, God gave them over to shameful lusts. Even their women exchanged natural sexual relations for unnatural ones. In the same way, the men also abandoned natural relations with women and were inflamed with lust for one another. Men committed shameful acts with other men and received in themselves the due penalty of their error. Furthermore, just as they did not think it worthwhile to retain their knowledge of God, so God gave them over to a depraved mind, so that they do what ought not to be done, that they have become filled with every kind of wickedness, evil, greed, and depravity. They are full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, and malice. They are gossips, slanderers, God-haters, insolent, arrogant, and boastful. They invent ways of doing evil. They disobey their parents. They have no understanding, no fidelity, no love, no mercy. Although they know God's righteous decree that those who do such things deserve death, they not only continue to do these very things, but also approve of those who practice them. That's what verse 31 kind of reminded me of. I said, they shall eat the fruit of their own way and be filled to the full with their own fancies. Like God gave them up to their depravities because they kept turning away from Him, and we kept turning away from wisdom, and she gave us up to our sinfulness, our stupidity. But here at the end, the last verse, she kind of gave another hope again. She says, but whoever listens to me will dwell safely and will be secure without fear of evil. She kind of offers us a way back, like a way to return back to wisdom, basically. So that was chapter 1. Let me see this. La 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 la. Let's move on to chapter 2 to make sure I come back and look at this again so I can take more notes, because I'm kind of trying to just do this all so I could have something easy to watch back. So Proverbs chapter 2. Let's get to it. Okay, let me read through it, then I go verse by verse. My son, if you receive my words and treasure my commands within you, so that you incline your ear to wisdom and apply your heart to understanding, yes, if you cry out for discernment and lift up your voice for understanding, if you seek her as silver and search for her as for hidden treasures, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. For the Lord gives wisdom, from his mouth come knowledge and understanding. He stores up sound wisdom for the upright. He's a shield to those who walk uprightly. He guards the path of justice and preserves the way of his saints. Then you will understand righteousness and justice, equity, and every good path. When wisdom enters your heart and knowledge is pleasant to your soul, discretion will preserve you, understanding will keep you. to deliver you from the way of evil, from the man who speaks perverse things, from those who leave the paths of unrighteousness. It said paths. To walk in the way of darkness, who rejoice in doing evil and delight in the perversity of the wicked, whose ways are crooked, and who are devious in their paths, to deliver you from the immoral woman, from the seductress who flatters with her words, who forsakes the companion of her youth, and forgets the covenant of her God. For her house leads down to death, and her path to the dead. None who go to her return, nor do they regain the paths of life. So you may walk in the way of goodness and keep to the paths of righteousness. For the upright will dwell in the land, and the blameless will remain in it. But the wicked will be cut off from the earth, and the unfaithful will be uprooted from it. I like this chapter. Surprise! For a second I thought I didn't highlight anything in this because this was good. Chapter 2 kind of just goes over the value of wisdom, shows how important it is, and kind of shows what not having it does. And that's obviously a common thing for Proverbs because it talks a lot about wisdom, 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 wisdom. I'm Tuki. Okay. Let's read a little bit. My son, if you receive my words and treasure my commands within you, so that you incline your ear to wisdom and apply your heart to understand. Ooh, I like that. Incline your ear to wisdom. Again, wisdom's crying out. She's everywhere. She's in the chief concourses. She's where else was she? Hold on. The chief concourses. She's all of a sudden I lost it. I lost it. Oh, there. She's in the open squares, the chief concourses, at the openings of the gates in the city. Again, she's crying out from everywhere. So all we have to do is incline our ears. Incline, right, my ear to wisdom. But not just hear wisdom, but to apply it once I understand it. And apply it. Okay. Apply your heart to understanding. Yes. If you cry out for discernment, again, kind of seeking it, if you cry out for discernment and lift up your voice for understanding, if you seek her as silver, kind of how people are chasing the bag these days, if you seek her like you seek money and search for her as for hidden treasures, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. Seek. I'm kind of just, again, writing down what I think, what I'm getting from this. Seek wisdom. Well, it says discernment. Seek wisdom, discernment. I just broke my lid. I'm so sad. Okay. Seek wisdom, discernment, and understanding. Um, like, chase her like people chase the bag. Or like obviously as it says, like silver. Search for her as a hidden treasure. As for hidden treasure, but again, she's everywhere. She's literally crying out. So it's not much of a treasure hunt. She's everywhere, but at the same time, it's so hard to really find the truth, to really find wisdom, because even though she's crying out from the open square, she's crying out from the opening gates of the city, from the chief concourses, there's so many other distractions and so many other things trying to pull your attention away from her. So you really have to seek her through all of it, even though she's everywhere, basically. Let me write that down. Seek her through the distracting crowds. Seek truth, basically. And then you'll understand the fear of the Lord. Find knowledge of God. So once I start to seek wisdom, discernment, and understanding, if I seek her like how I seek, I guess, money, if I seek her as if I'm on like a treasure hunt, like I'm searching for hidden treasures, then I will understand the fear of the Lord. So I guess to understand the fear of the Lord, like apart from just like searching what the fear of the Lord meaning on Google, once you seek wisdom, discernment, understanding, knowledge, then you will understand what the fear of the Lord is. And then I'll find knowledge of God. And what better way than through his word, through prayer, through fasting, basically. For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding. Ooh. The Lord gives wisdom. Obviously, that's how Solomon got his wisdom. The Lord gives wisdom. Out of his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. So he gives wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. He's a shield to those who walk uprightly. He guards the path of the justice. And then last chapter was just talking about keeping my foot from the path of the sinners. But once I keep keep my foot from the path of the sinners, path of the sinners, then the Lord will be a shield to those who walk uprightly. The Lord will guard my path. The Lord will guard the path of justice. He guards the path of justice and preserves the way of the saints. He's not guarding my path of justice. He's guarding the path of justice, but will still be a shield to me on those paths. Preserves the way of the saints. Then you will understand righteousness and justice, equity, and every good path. There's good paths and bad paths. When wisdom enters your heart and knowledge is pleasant to your soul, discretion will preserve you, understanding will keep you. This is later in Proverbs, but it's like a wise man will take correction, like lovingly, almost, but like a fool or scoffer, I don't remember. Again, this is going back to verse 1, despises correction. Kind of taking like, what are you talking about? I'm always right. Why are you trying to fix me? I'm not broken, almost. It's kind of what they're saying. But a wise man takes correction. So wisdom and knowledge must be pleasant to my soul because I'm seeking it. Then discretion and understanding. To deliver you from the way of the evil, from the man who speaks perverse things, from those who leave paths of uprightness to walk in the way of darkness. From the bad paths, paths of evil. to deliver you from the immoral woman, from the seductress who flatters with her words. It kind of talks about the harlot. I'm pretty sure they call her harlot later, unless I'm thinking of a different version, but I'm pretty sure it just talks about the harlot. The immoral woman leads to death, to hell, and there's no return from that. Keep to the paths of righteousness. The upright will dwell in the land, the blameless will remain in it, the wicked will be cut off from the earth, and the unfaithful will be uprooted from it. Yeah. Chapter 2 just mainly just talks about the importance of wisdom, is what I'm getting. The importance of wisdom and seeking it, basically. Seeking the Lord, essentially. And from Proverbs 1, what did I get? Wisdom is out there, but we have to seek it once again. Eliminate distractions. And also follow our wise counsel. I'm going to write down the last verse. But whoever listens to me will dwell safely and will be secure without fear of evil. I'll write that an important verse from chapter 2. Oh, yes. Verse 10 and 11 for sure. So, Proverbs 2, verse 10 through 11. When wisdom enters your heart and knowledge is pleasant to you, well, to your soul, discretion will preserve you, understanding will keep you. And then verse 12 says to deliver you from the way of evil, from the man who speaks perverse things, from those who leave the path of uprightness to walk in the way of darkness. That was like 12 and 13, but that's okay. Oof. My back low-key hurts. I've been a little hunchback today. But that was Proverbs chapter 1 and Proverbs chapter 2. Next to my live stream, I'll try to do Proverbs chapter 3 and Proverbs chapter 4. And if I'm not tired and yawning for absolutely no reason, maybe chapter 5 as well. But yeah. I am out of here.